The next several decades of growth and development in this country will most likely be in urban areas. And the urban areas that are going to benefit from that are the ones that start planning for it now and figuring it out, because we're already seeing those seeds of demand for that type of lifestyle grow.
We wanted to be able to tell everybody that this was a rallying point, I guess if you will, to be able to move some things forward that hadn't been able to be accomplished previously. And I think we've got just that now in the plan.
People are very proud of their neighborhoods. They want to shop local. They just need to have the ability to. We didn't propose taking these areas and scraping them clean and then starting with some new idea. We tried to take into account things that are already happening with businesses just on their own, just that people are doing already.
It's going to be a quality of life choice for the best and the brightest, the people that we need to attract to Indianapolis to have a thriving community. They're not going to come here if they have to get in their cars to go everywhere. And there's something about transit and being bicycle and pedestrian friendly as a city where your life just becomes a more inspiring journey on a day-to-day basis.
This is the first time that I've seen neighborhood associations for large numbers of residences come together with a common theme. And this is a really good thing, because I think without that type of group think and without that type of group wish, perhaps the city might not have noticed that there are residents in Midtown that want to see improvement.
We just have to be the kind of place that is attractive to this kind of young creative talent. It's our future economically. And they want to live in urban environments. They want to live where there's a quality of life that's appealing to them. And there's no better example of that than Midtown in Indianapolis.
Envision has been a superb process. There's a magic in Envision because it brings in all the possibilities of imagination as well as all of the expertise of practicality. And drawing each of the neighborhoods together only strengthens that. But we've had the residents, the businesses, and the city, and the expertise of the city all around the table together, making friends, making partnerships, building alliances, and building friendships, all of which accelerates the process and the value of trust.
Can Do was involved and got really about College Avenue and the redevelopment of especially the 49th Street area. And when we started to do the Envision process, it really brought a lot of neighbors and community leaders and people together that never had a chance to share anything and to be part of something. And it was fun to watch the community really grow and in their knowledge base and watch them change in their attitudes toward redevelopment of College Avenue.
One of the interesting things about the Envision process is one of the things that one of our planners came up with, Bob Welch, and it was to use a model to discuss with the neighborhood how changes could happen. And the model was basically the forms of the existing building, and it could be interchanged with ideas on new buildings on sites, buildings on vacant sites, and it gave a sense of what height meant. I've never heard of too much input in any process. And as I indicated, the planning staff is very successful when we have the input. It's also very helpful for us when there's a lot of leadership from neighborhoods. that we have a better sense then of where the neighborhood wants to go. We're here to facilitate those goals.
We've got a sound basis. It's not like we're starting anew. We've got a sound basis to start with. You combine that with a community that cares about what's going on, and you have a magic combination with those people.
There are a lot of key destinations along the college corridor, and then there's also destinations that you would want to link to, east and west of the corridor. So think of transit running north and south from Indianapolis to Broad Ripple to Carmel. Then think of it linking connections to the east and west, say on Keystone Avenue or further on the west side of Indianapolis.
There's some really positive things with what's going on with the Alice Carter Park project. We're getting sidewalks down to Meridian Street. There's just some real positives.
I think it's really important that with Harmony and the Midtown Initiative that the groups are working together, so it's not just that Broad Ripple doesn't feel like it's competing with Meridian Kessler or competing with Butler Tarkington, but everybody can work together, and it just makes for a nice transition as you're going through the neighborhoods.
What the Envision Broad Ripple process has done is it's allowed us to tap into the innate creativity of our community, who are really passionate about the village and want to come up with solutions to the many problems we have here.
If you want to change the world, you have to change your backyard. So we started very small, and literally we're only focused on Broad Ripple, but as we've gained these partnerships, we've been able to cause greater influence over the entire north side. It's just really cool like that.
We realized that Midtown has this plethora of wonderfully locally owned independent businesses. So we really wanted to come up with something that not only encompassed Broad Ripple, but encompassed Meridian Kessler, Butler, Tarkington, and Mapleton Fall Creek. So all four of those neighborhoods came together to work on this initiative, which is the Midtown Loves Local.
Come to us and see, this little community and how we try to help each other. Even neighbors trying to help the businesses, businesses trying to help the neighborhood.
The church has always felt it has a responsibility to make sure whatever develops around there is going to be long-lasting. It's going to be beneficial to the larger community for the long term.
You feel connected. I know the neighbors here, and they're my customers, and I live in this neighborhood, and it's the best. This neighborhood means something to everyone who lives here. That's the thing that impresses me, that this neighborhood means something to everyone here.
The best cities have more than just one destination. The fact that we have so many different destinations within Midtown, the IMA, it just keeps going on and on. But that's really what makes a dynamic city, a great downtown, and then other great destination neighborhoods.
We are thankful that the city has embraced this idea about being able to work hand in hand with the Harmony Board and the individual neighborhood organizations to be able to make investment decisions in the neighborhood, and we're anxious to keep that moving forward.
What we have done in working with Midtown is to create this proposed redevelopment district that would bring together many different financial tools to help make long-range investments to make and make those not just infrastructure improvements, but quality of life improvements, improving the commercial corridors, making improvements to 38th Street, making improvements to Broad Ripple.
When people come together, and when they when they stay focused and they stay consistent and they stay vigilant about their issues and their messages, the public officials have no choice but to listen.
We'd like to see as much infrastructure support as we can get, and I know the city is, they're getting hit from many different directions, but I think with the density and what we have going here, and what the stakeholders, both business and residents, have put in their properties, I think this is an area that really deserves consideration.
That's my biggest desire, that we can do something to occupy some of these buildings around corners. So you drive by and you see these empty buildings, that's been sitting there empty for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, you know what I mean? Put something in it that would serve this community as well as the city of Indianapolis in general.
We would love to see a lot of the abandoned houses and buildings be used and reused for something new. I think we would love to see more housing, like apartments and double-layer housing in some of the old historic buildings that are there on the corner. I think there's a lot of work to do between 38th and 42nd, and we hope and believe that's kind of the next focus there in the Midtown area.
Well, I think it's absolutely critical that we have connectivity in this north side of Indianapolis, in this Midtown area, and sort of building a community that's not separated just by Butler, Tarkington, Meridian, Kessler, Broad Ripple, but it's really seen as one area, Midtown.
I'm excited about the process, about harmony, just everybody kind of crossing over, getting rid of those invisible barriers. I think, that stuff is dated. It's time for us to start working together.
I can't think of a time when we've had people more enthusiastic, willing to put in the time, and more optimistic that we'll have a real outcome this time. It just seems more real and more possible than it ever has before.
The city gets better every day.